Good morning, class. My name is Ann Allred, and today I'm going to review the book, The Five Chinese Brothers by Claire Hutchins Bishop and Kurt Weiss. And this is a story about five brothers who, they look exactly the same, and they live by the sea with their mother. And they each have a different gift. This page doesn't have any pictures, so I'll just read it. The first Chinese brother could swallow the sea. The second Chinese brother had an iron neck. The third Chinese brother could stretch and stretch and stretch his legs. The fourth Chinese brother could not be burned. And the fifth Chinese brother could hold his breath indefinitely. So I'm going to read this page too. Every morning, the first Chinese brother would go fishing, and whatever the weather, he would come back to the village with beautiful and rare fish, which he caught and could sell at the market for a very good price. One day, as he was leaving the marketplace, a little boy stopped him and asked him if he could go fishing with him. "No, it cannot be done," said the first Chinese brother. But the little boy begged, and finally the first Chinese brother consented. "Under one condition," he said, "and that is that you shall obey me promptly." "Yes, yes," the boy promised. So they go down to the sea, and the brother says, "Now, when I give the signal, I need you to come back as soon as you see the signal." And the boy promised, and the brother swallowed the sea, and he held it for a while, and the boy wandered further and further away, and pretty soon it was getting hard to hold, so he motioned him back. He really motioned him back, and he just ran further out. So finally the sea rushed from the brother's mouth, and the boy was drowned. So the judge sentenced the brother to be executed in the morning by chopping off his head. And so he said, "Okay, that I can do that, but can I go home and say goodbye to my mother?" And the judge says, "Well, that's only fair." So he goes home, and of course the second Chinese brother comes back, and he's the one with the iron neck. So they can't execute him, and every day there's a different punishment, and every day a different brother comes back. And I'll let you finish the story to see how it ends. But this I'm not going to review this as a picture book, even though it is. I'm going to review it as this week's topic of controversial literature. And this was one of my favorite books when I was growing up. It was written a long time ago, so it was a book even when I was young. It was around, and I loved it. I read it to my children, and they loved it. And I think I picked it as one of my top 10 when we started this class. So I got it out, and I was going to read it to my grandkids. And so I started reading it, and the first thing in it is the boy gets drowned, and then this one, I wanted to read this page too. All the people were assembled on the village square to witness the execution. The executioner took his sword and struck a mighty blow. But the second Chinese brother got up and smiled. He was the one with the iron neck, and they simply could not cut his head off. Everybody was angry because they couldn't cut his head off, and decided that he should be drowned. So as I'm reading this to my grandkids, I kept just thinking I needed to explain it and tell them that it was going to be okay, that, anyway. So it's a little graphic that I'd forgotten about that. Also, it's a little, all the pictures show them with the slits for the eyes, and they never really can open their eyes or show their eyes, and they all look exactly the same. So part of it can be a little bit stereotypical. And I do think we need to be sensitive to these issues, but it's important. I feel like no book should ever be banned. It's a slippery slope when we give power to an individual or an organization to decide what we can and cannot read. Pretty soon someone may decide that the Bible or our Book of Mormon shouldn't be allowed reading, and it's just it's just too precious a right that we have. And as far as the five Chinese brothers, I'm not sure how I feel about it anymore, even though it was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. I'll let you guys decide if you think it's too graphic and too stereotypical. So thank you.